The sun hadn't even fully risen when unmarked SUVs and tactical units rolled onto the quiet street at 7744 McGrory Street in Tahunga, California. Cameras caught the broken gate lying in pieces, police tape fluttering in the breeze, and officers in dark gear fanning out across the property. If you're new here, please hit that like button, leave a comment with your thoughts, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us keep bringing you these in-depth stories. What began as whispers and tip-offs years ago has culminated in one of the most dramatic federal raids on a religious organization in recent memory. Investigators had been working behind the scenes for months, gathering financial records, interviewing former members, and piecing together allegations of sex trafficking, money laundering, tax evasion, and labor violations. Today's action involved not only the FBI but also the IRS, the U.S. Postal Inspection Service, the Department of Labor, and local police. Together, they served search warrants, detained key figures, and carted away boxes of documents and electronic devices. For many who escaped Shikina Church, seeing federal agents on their doorstep offered long-sought validation that their stories of coercion and abuse would finally be heard. Members of Shikina Church were recruited with promises of fame and wealth that sounded too good to be true. And as it turned out, they were. Pastor Robert Shin and his son Isaiah allegedly tapped into the dreams of young dancers and performers through ministry-style auditions and exclusive events. Those who arrived full of hope found strict daily routines, financial demands far beyond ordinary tithes, and living conditions so controlled that even personal correspondence was monitored. Followers were told that doubt was a sign of spiritual weakness, and anyone who questioned leadership faced ostracism or worse. Inside the compound, which sat beside an abandoned school once earmarked for conversion into a church, daily life was tightly regulated. Members worked long hours for little or no pay, funneling nearly all earnings back into businesses fronted by the church. Housing was provided in modest homes owned by Shikina Church, often with multiple people sharing small spaces and waking before dawn for devotional meetings. Senior members tracked who arrived late, who missed a donation, and who spoke to outsiders, all under the watchful eye of nominated mentors. Travel outside the compound required permission, and passports were sometimes held for safekeeping, effectively trapping residents in a closed environment. Early this morning, 5 individuals with central roles in the organization were detained for questioning. Isaiah Shin, Robert's son and lead recruiter; Shirley Kim, the church's attorney and former spouse of a senior member; Matthew Shin, who managed real estate and housing; Young Bin Kim, closely involved in operations; and Luke Song, who maintained the grounds. Video footage shows Isaiah in handcuffs, Shirley Kim wiping tears as she clutched a baby, and Matthew Shin answering officers' questions. Their detention does not equal guilt, but under federal procedure it allows prosecutors time to review evidence and decide on formal charges. What makes this raid especially noteworthy is the multi-agency collaboration. While the FBI focused on sex trafficking allegations, including accusations that women were coerced into intimate, non-consensual relationships, postal inspectors examined mail routes allegedly used to launder money, IRS agents probed suspicious financial flows, and labor investigators looked into reports of wage theft. Local law enforcement provided tactical support, ensuring the operation proceeded safely. This level of coordination signals how seriously authorities are treating the case and underscores the complex web of crimes alleged. For years, Shikina Church operated under the radar, supported in part by public goodwill toward religious organizations. Netflix's 2022 documentary, Dancing for the Devil, the 7M TikTok cult, began to change that. High-profile dancers like Priscilla Lee, Vic White, and siblings James and Miranda Derrick came forward with tales of career promises that dissolved into exploitation. They described grueling work schedules, constant surveillance, and fear of retaliation if they spoke out. Their courageous testimonies sparked outrage and helped tip off federal investigators, setting the stage for today's enforcement action. Civil litigation also played a role. Last summer, Robert Shin filed a defamation lawsuit against a critic who had covered these allegations extensively. Depositions of current members James and Miranda Derrick, conducted under oath before Minnesota court, revealed signs of coaching and fear. Both appeared anxious and relied on repeated rephrasings of questions, often deferring to instructions whispered by Shirley Kim via video link. Despite acknowledging awareness of serious accusations against Shin, they denied being victims themselves. Legal experts note that such behavior can indicate pressure to stick to a leadership-approved narrative. Even as we speak, some former stars remain unaccounted for, their silence reflecting the powerful grip the church maintained. Friends of Vic White and Miranda Derrick report that both have cut off family contact, leaving loved ones worried. It's a stark reminder that leaving a high-control group can carry steep emotional and financial costs. Survivors often need intensive support, from counseling to assistance rebuilding credit and relationships, to truly break free from a coercive environment. With evidence now in federal hands, the next step is likely an indictment by a grand jury. Charges could range from sex trafficking under the Mann Act to conspiracy for money laundering and tax evasion. Convictions on these counts can bring decades-long prison sentences and substantial fines. For victims, successful prosecutions may also open doors to restitution. If justice is served, it will be a testament to how media exposure, survivor courage, and coordinated law enforcement efforts can dismantle even the most secretive criminal enterprises. Beyond the courtroom, the human impact of this case cannot be overstated. Former members recount sleepless nights haunted by memories of forced labor and emotional manipulation. Some have suffered lasting trauma, struggling with anxiety, depression, and post-traumatic stress long after leaving the compound. Mental health professionals emphasize the importance of trauma-informed care, specialized support groups, and long-term therapy to help survivors rebuild their sense of self-worth and autonomy. Local communities around Tujunga are also grappling with the fallout. Neighbors describe a compound that once seemed innocuous, a cluster of modest homes and quiet meetings. Few realized the darker activities happening behind closed doors. Now, there's a mixture of relief and shock as residents learn the full scope of the allegations. Town hall meetings are being scheduled, faith leaders are speaking out against abuse, and community centers are opening their doors to support former church members seeking safe space and resources. On the national stage, this case has reignited conversations about how religious freedom protections can sometimes shield criminal behavior. Advocacy groups are lobbying for clearer oversight mechanisms when faith-based organizations handle large sums of money or operate residential compounds. Proposed legislation would require regular financial audits, whistleblower protections, and more stringent background checks for leaders in non-profit religious groups. While critics warn this could infringe on genuine congregations' autonomy, supporters argue it's a necessary step to prevent abuse under the guise of faith. Experts in cult dynamics point out warning signs that could help people avoid similar situations. They recommend asking simple questions before joining any group. Who holds the power? Is there financial transparency? Are rules explained up front, and can members leave freely? They emphasize that legitimate spiritual communities welcome questions and encourage outside friendships, whereas coercive groups isolate, control, and manipulate through fear and secrecy. For viewers who may know someone in a high-control group, experts advise gentle outreach. Express genuine concern, offer empathy, and share trustworthy information. Abrupt confrontations or accusatory language can backfire, pushing individuals deeper into the group. Instead, creating a safe channel for open dialogue can gradually help members question their situation and consider leaving. As the Shikina Church saga unfolds, it offers both a cautionary tale and a beacon of hope. It shows how investigative journalism, thoughtful documentaries, courageous whistleblowers, and dedicated law enforcement work can combine to expose wrongdoing. It reminds us that even institutions cloaked in holiness can perpetrate grave harm, and that no leader is above the law. Thank you for sticking with us through this deep dive into the Shikina Church saga. We'll keep you updated as indictments are filed, court dates are set, and more details emerge. If you found this video helpful, please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. What questions do you have about cult dynamics or this case in particular? Let us know below. We read every comment. Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and stay safe. Like, comment, and subscribe. Your engagement helps us do what we do best. Bring you the stories that matter.